All right, welcome back, and welcome if it's your first time to the Brain Dump podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Sitar on Instagram, Hunter in person, or John, actually. First name's John, middle name's Hunter, for those that don't know me. And really what we do here at the Brain Dump is we just dive in, and I don't plan anything, and I just sit here with a microphone in my face, and I talk about anything that comes to mind. So, maybe that's my last little week here and what's happened and what I've learned. But I will let you know today I did a full 20, 30-minute podcast, but I forgot to put the camera on. Now, I could release that on a standalone, but I probably won't because there was a lot of pausing. There was a lot of corrections to be made. And frankly, it was all right. I was just getting warm. I had a couple beers last night. I did some painting. So I was doing some painting, and naturally you got to have some beers. Well, not beers. I had nudes, low calorie. Got to take care of the body, but the beers gets me, weird. I was listening to some nice classical music, and I'm dancing around, twirling around, throwing face paint on. If you have me on Snapchat or Instagram, you probably saw that. It was a fantastic time, and I brought that here for you today. So I don't want to show you my other pieces. I made 4 pieces all day. But here is the one that is consumer friendly and not super far out. It's a classic abstract painting. What I did uniquely here is I let paint drop into these big drops here, but it was thick and it was bulging up. So I went in there with my mouth and I blew as hard as I could, and it created a cool little, I don't know, watery effect. I don't know anything, and almost passed out blowing so hard, but it turned out beautiful. And so I already got a bid. The guy offered to pay shipping for it, and I just got to sign it and send it his way so he can hang it up. So if you want some of my paintings, follow my OnlyFans. I do a giveaway. $20, $25 a month. Just kidding. Just hit me up with a message, and I'm happy to send you a painting. It's something that I think everyone needs to do. I always told myself growing up I couldn't paint. And I guess my art teachers probably told me that too, saying, you're not that good. And I think my grades definitely showed. But I realized, painting or anything art related, it's subjective. Fuck. Anyone can do it. You just got to do it. So, yeah, that was my thoughts yesterday when I picked up all the art supplies, about like $120 to get into a starter kit. And so I picked it up and, had a couple nudes, nice vodka sodas, listened to some really nice classical music, danced around, painted about 4 of these. The other 3, the first one was a bit off. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just getting started, and it's out there. I call it the third eye, or the eye of beholder. It's just a circle with a dot in the middle, and then some really crazy stuff going on the outside. Third painting was just some brush strokes, very, very simple. And then the 4th one, I'm a huge fan of. And the reason being is this was my last one, and I put so much time into it. I started off doing like an intricate, like almost a flower pattern or something like that, and then like alternating between colors. And at the end, it just looked so awful. And I was like, yeesh. So I ended up just throwing a bunch of paint on it, kind of focusing on green because that's my favorite color. And I wore the paint shirt that I wore last night. Put it back on today because I like it because it brings out my eyes, and it's a cool shirt. And so, yeah, anyways, I ended up getting really into it. So I had the face paint on my face paint on, and I just threw my hands into the paint and just got like black and green and white. And I just started taking everything and just doing swirls onto the canvas. And I just kept doing it, and I was in this trance with the classical music, and the classical music really dictated how my paintings turned out. If it was aggressive and it was just getting like really into whatever the instruments used, it would feel aggressive. So I would start painting more aggressive, and it kind of messed up a couple of the paintings because of it. But with this 4th one, I just got into this spiral. I can't even speak. Spiral. And I just kept going and kept going. It was just basically like this focus into the middle. And I thought it looked beautiful. It's a bit more on the darker end, or that's the feedback I got from my roommate this morning. He's like, you must have gotten into a dark space. I disagree. I was in a great spot. And I think I'm going to paint over it. Not completely paint over it, but now that it's got like a nice base coat of this green spiral, I want to build it out and maybe throw something in there that's not abstract. So maybe paint my roommate mentioned a guy on a bench looking up at the sun or the moon. If I can do that, I will. I don't know if I have the skill set for it, so I might have to put that on the side, get more canvases, and work on making actual lifelike, literal things as opposed to abstract, because abstract's really just throwing the unconscious on paper and just, just really just puking all over it and being satisfied with it, what it is, and just kind of more feeling as opposed to just planning it out. So did that, and it's therapeutic. Again, it was just a beautiful way to spend a Friday evening and just diving in and painting. I want to do that probably once a week now too, and try to build that craft, because it's just such a good time. Hopefully it's not too expensive. Canvases are $20. I think the paint is where it can get more expensive, because I went through a lot of paint and wasted a lot just to do it. But I guess that's just kind of the creative pursuit of it all. Other than that, this last week I've been getting into a lot of skateboarding. Excuse me. Been getting into a lot of skateboarding. I used to skateboard a lot when I was a kid or younger, growing up in the middle school, high school era. Little skate rat. Just kind of coincides with snowboarding. Doing a lot of snowboarding back in my youth as well. But my roommate bought a skateboard last week, and we decided to start skateboarding a lot more often. So we went to a park here in Vancouver called Ambleside. It's a lot more beginner, intermediate level. So something I can actually do, a little bit more accessible. The one in downtown Vancouver is just, I don't even know how anyone does anything there. It's so big. Everything's daunting. I guess, so many pros were from that era or that area and then just grew up riding that. So they just get naturally so much progressively better. But yeah, this one's so much more manageable for me and for my roommate. It's quarter pipes I can drop in. But one thing I love about it is the amount of skateboarding puts you into a presence or a present aspect, because you have to be. Skateboarding is such a high risk, high reward sport that if you mess up a kickflip, you're getting a nice shinner into your ankle, especially if you're moving. Or if you're olling off something and your foot gets placed on wrong, you could have a very bad fall and smack your head and die. Worst case, or if you're going down on a quarter pipe, you could drop in and be too much onto your back left foot, and you could slide out, smoke your head. So you have to be super mindful of what you're doing at all times. So it forces you to be there. You're skateboarding, you're showing up, and you're there. And it's so nice because you just throw in some good tunes, you vibe around, you're skating around, all in, playing around, and it's another creative aspect, because you get to do whatever you want. You get to turn of course the skateboard is kind of predetermined on what you can do there, but you're still able to just play around and figure out what you want to do. It's like, okay, I'm going to pop up on this pad, manual, pop, shove it off, or I'm going to ollie up it and then ollie up onto something higher and manual that, and then pop, shove it off, or something of that nature. It's endless, really. And your style, everyone's style is unique. And it's such a cool thing. I think that's what's awesome about snowboarding. Of course, you get into niches where if you wear this, you're not fitting into it. Sometimes I think that skateboarding and snowboarding is more a fashion statement than it is a creative, artistic expression. Because I remember when I would snowboard a lot, if you weren't wearing skinny pants, you weren't fitting in. They go through eras just like fashion does, but it really much is that kind of cool sport. And to fit in, you got to necessarily follow it. Now looking back, I realize that was what the cool snowboarders, cool skaters did, was they actually went with what they wanted to wear, and they started the trends themselves. And now looking back, when I would do the filming and all those things, I wish I went in and I had that mindset, was just like wearing the things that I wanted to wear, that wasn't really following the trends and being outspoken in the way that I wanted to style myself, because that was really what made snowboarders stand out. It was their unique style, and style when it comes to what you're wearing, but also style and how you're on the board, whether you're lazy and you got that laid back look, or you're aggressive and you're very like technical and to form. And when you do like a board slide, you're like, you're there, you're like a gorilla when you land, or you get laid back and you're just like, whoa, this is easy. I'm a stoner boy. I'm just surfing. That's it. And I just wish I had that perspective when I was really chasing that snowboarding dream. Not to say that it's too late now. I really, I got a snowboard pass this year, and I plan on using it and maybe doing some filming. But it's just something that I kind of had the realization with when I was skateboarding. And, that was a self-conscious thing I had when I was down in the Vancouver skate park, because you have all these pros, all these really good skateboarders doing all these crazy tricks. And I know no one's judging, but, you tend to have that. It's a natural instinct to be like, oh, these guys are better than me. I don't want to step out of line. But yeah, so been doing skateboarding a lot more. We went 3 times this week, and my feet and my legs are super sore. It's actually hard on my back. I've been, as you might already know, if you've been on my YouTube channel, I have that video on yoga, top 5 yoga moves that help with my lower back pain. So I suffer from back pain, but it's been super good lately. I've taken really good care with it because of yoga. Yoga's just been so good to stretch out. I realized that a lot of the back pain stems from my tight legs. And so skateboarding really does, there's impact to it. So it actually really aggravated my my lower back again. And I haven't had that kind of pain in probably year and a half. So got to be a bit more careful with what I'm doing. I'm still an old man here. I can't just dive in and be aggressive with the skateboarding, within reason, of course. So after the 3rd day, I was pretty pooped. I got home and I was like, oh, I can't really sit down at the desk. I had to lie down on the bed for a bit, and then I ended up doing some stretching, which I don't know why I didn't do originally. Like as soon as I got home, when I started to feel a bit of pain, but the stretching just fixed me instantly. It was crazy. I did like a frog position where you kind of open up your thighs and then just stretch the inner thigh, and I could just feel the release on my lower back, and it was just like almost breathtaking. It was crazy. So you guys got to stretch, because we're only getting older and it's only getting worse. And the morning stretch feels so good. I tweeted it. When you do a morning stretch, it really feels like you're dusting off the cobwebs that kind of built up overnight, and it's a beautiful feeling. It really it wakes you up. It's like a morning coffee. And that might be a little too far, but you mix that in when you're getting ready for your day at work, especially if you work remotely. It's definitely something you can do throughout the day is stretch. And I'm starting to put more value into stretching than it is working out, because I've been running a lot too, and running is such high impact on the joints. And I'll do all this stretching and I'll do all this care for my body, and then I'll go and run, and it'll just completely reset me back to neutral or behind, and I got to stretch it all over again. So it's trying to find a happy balance. I think maybe the right way to do it, or is maybe pick up a low impact sport such as, I don't know, I think biking is really good for that. I know it comes with its problems, and I think it actually comes with back problems too for really long periods of time. But it's a lot more lower impact on the joints, on your knees. That, or I should just go and get into swimming. Well, I tried that this week, actually. We have a pool at the apartment, and it's got lines, so you can do that. So I ended up getting some Speedo goggles, threw those on, and started doing laps. And I had to watch a quick video on how to do that. I guess you do, 1, 2, 3. Every third stroke, that's when you go for breath. And I thought I was quite a good swimmer. You could toss me in the middle of a lake and I could float there for probably hours, who knows. But once you start doing laps, wow, you really run out of breath. You got to be in it, because I was struggling to even count the breaths. I got my hair hitting me in the face. I'm getting distracted, and I maybe did 3 laps back and forth before I had to stop, get up, and actually do a deep breath, and then go back into it. And I'm not as good. I was very humbled. I'm not as good as I thought I was at swimming, and I think that's something I got to get better at, because I really enjoy swimming, and I also think you can it's just a great. I think it's pretty good cardio, if I'm not wrong, and it's the water makes low gravity, so it's good for the back. And I know that was like a high recommendation that my doctor had when I went, and the back specialist, when we met, he said you should really pick up swimming, because it helps strengthen your core when you're doing the I don't even know what this type of stroke it's called, whatever, the normal one. And he said, yeah, pick up swimming. This is going to help you so much with your lower back. And that was 3 years ago. Still haven't really picked it up, but I should really do that. I need to get one of those hats, those real tight hats that make you look bald, because I got my long hair falls out of my not my bandana, the hair tie, and it gets in my face, into my eyes, and I can't see, and it's just unpleasant. And I think that's what's been stopping me from really getting into the swimming. Maybe even take some lessons, because I was really not impressed with myself. I even did the Wim Hof method before when I was in this hot tub. So I had like extra lung capacity and I couldn't do it that long. So if you guys got any tips and tricks, let me know. Also, thank you guys for tuning in last week. The few, I really didn't expect the amount of people that watched it. I really didn't even share it, to be honest. Shout out to Josh for tossing that on the Facebook and driving some attention to that. But I created the YouTube videos just to kind of go through the motions and produce and make something happen. And a lot of people reached out saying that they resonated with a lot of things I said. I was coherent, and for the most part made sense, which is awesome. I think the people that didn't like it didn't let me know, which I want you to hear from you because I want to improve. So give me the criticism. But yeah, I was super stoked about it. I was surprised that I could talk for 23 minutes when I loaded it up and saw that I was speaking for 23 minutes. I was quite impressed with myself because I feel like that's a very difficult thing. And when you're doing it by yourself, you don't have that other person as feedback to let you know that you're actually making sense and talking about something that makes sense. So you're really like, I could be wasting this entire video right now or entire podcast, and I go into post editing and see that, oh, this didn't make any sense at all, and I just wasted 23 minutes. But again, that's also learning because it's saying, hey, well, you need to take some time and coherently think what you're trying to say and what you're trying to execute on. And so, really stoked about that. I really want to make this a weekly thing if I didn't already mention that. Try to do it every Sunday or Monday as the post, and get this on Spotify and on iTunes, so it's people that can't watch the YouTube video, they can listen to it in their car if they're interested in enough. But the whole process, the whole journey of this YouTube channel is to get into the point where I'm creating, I'm learning how to use editing software. I downloaded Adobe Premiere because iMovie is just, it's great. Again, I don't know if I said this, if this was from the podcast that I messed up or this one, but iMovie is really just like a software that's used for parents to make videos of their kids that they can quickly edit, throw on the sparkles that say my iMovie, and then toss onto Facebook to show to people that don't care but act interested. Sorry to all you parents out there, but that's the truth, and I'm sure I'm going to do it when I have kids. But so I downloaded Adobe Premiere, and I want to get a little bit better at editing and throwing in maybe the YouTube subscribe video, the click here to follow my Instagram, and do all those cool animations, and then just get better at doing the production of it, because there's a lot of value in being able to do those things. And I'm not in the place where I have the resources to have someone do that for me, so I need to be a bit more self-reliant and independent on the whole production of this setup. And it's also something I've always been interested in, but just never really did it. I in high school and middle school, I really wish I dove into my interests more so than, I did. Snowboarding was like my life, and it still is such a beautiful thing in my life, but I never really explored more that intuitive side, even though I had a lot of intuition, but that intuitive side of being creative and going into art class. I did drama, but I was too shy. I was too insecure with myself to fully embrace the drama class. Like we did a show, and I remember this, and it haunts me. It's one of those things that when you're lying in bed and it comes across in your brain, you think about, you kind of like wake up, you're like, oh fuck, I can't believe I did that. And it's just so embedded in my brain. And so we did this, I can't remember the exact name of the script or the reenactment of the story that we're doing, but I was essentially a merchant, and I was selling dirt. And my lines were, dirt for sale, hey you, get off the merchandise. And I was a big procrastinator, and I didn't practice my lines. Didn't think I needed to. We're talking 2, 3 sentences, and my turn comes up. We got the families, everyone there, and I go up, and it's my line, monotone. I say, dirt for sale. Hey, you, get off the merchandise. So I stutter like crazy, and it's one of those things where you have people that have full scripts, and they don't even leave the stage for 25 minutes, and they don't make one mistake. And I make a mistake off 3 sentences, an appearance where I ring a bell and then I stutter and I fool up, and it really shows that it's the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And it really showcases that if you don't prepare for something, you're going to mess up. But again, it was also like I was so nervous ahead of time because I wasn't prepared, but I was so insecure with myself that I didn't think I could do it. And it just caused me more of a stumble. So a valuable lesson there is, prepare so you don't have a pissed performance. And, you got to dive into your role. You really got to be that role. And don't give a fuck about what anyone's thinking about you, because that's going to only just hinder you for sure. And that's what I'm really learning from Jim Carrey. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen on my story that I've been posting like a new Jim Carrey movie almost every night. I'm reading his book, I'm watching interviews, reading his documentary, because he's such a fascinating person, because his whole career was really all about being a performance artist. And what I love about that, and he really encapsulates it with the movie Man on the Moon, which is about Andy Kaufman, who was a comedian he was a performance artist from the 70s, 80s, I think. But he would just go on stage at interviews with like David Letterman, and he would just not leave his role or what he was trying to be. And most people didn't understand him at the time. Everyone was like, "What? This guy's crazy. Like, he doesn't make sense." He for a while he would actually like wrestle women, and he called himself the intergender champion. And he'd wrestle people and be like, "You can't beat me." And he was really like egging women on, because this was prime time of the women movement, the women rights movement. And so he was like kind of counter trolling, but no one understood it till like maybe a couple of years after the whole spiel of doing that stuff. And it was just it's such an interesting thing, because he just dove into these roles and you never knew when he broke character. And Jim Carrey did a really good job with this with Man on the Moon, and pretty much his whole career would, of course, be a performance artist with a lot of interviews. But with Man on the Moon, he became Andy Kaufman, and then Andy Kaufman's kind of like alter ego Tony Clifton, which is like just a different person, a bit more aggressive. But when he was doing the recording, and what he says in the documentary is when he got the role, he was sitting on the beach, and on the beach he saw dolphins kind of come to him when he found out, and it was almost like, for him, he took it as a sign. And then he felt like Andy Kaufman spoke to him from the spirit realm and told him, "Hey, this is my ship now. Like, I'm taking over." And throughout the recording and the filming of Man on the Moon, he was performance artist of Andy Kaufman and Tony Clifton the whole time. So they know him when the directors were talking about what he was doing. They couldn't say, "Hey, Jim, can you do this?" He wouldn't be like, "No, Jim's a good guy, but I'm not Jim. Like, I'm Andy Kaufman." And so it caused a lot of problems on set. Some people disagreed with what he did, but it was such a cool documentary to see, where he's just acting in character outside of scene to fully embody what he was doing and acting for it. And that's why it made such a great performance of the whole movie. You're like, wow, he's incredible. And that really just showcased, my blunder when it came to that grade 9 drama class. And I messed up my dirt for sale. I didn't embrace being a merchant that was selling dirt. I didn't practice my lines. I didn't put myself in what a merchant was selling dirt. I should have watched videos on merchants and been that person, because I could have been there for, it was a 30-second scene, but I could have been that 30-second scene. But now I'm the guy that walked up. I don't think anyone remembers, but now I'm the guy that went into that scene and stumbled, stuttered three sentences. That's embarrassing, and it shouldn't happen. And I don't think it should happen. It says a lot more. It says a lot about me and my due diligence than it does about the whole thing. And frankly, it ruins the whole show for everybody else, because it's like, you had one job, do it well, dive in, commit, make it the best 30 seconds of your life, because it's your only 30 seconds. And the thought that arises from that is actually how beautiful, if you take that 30 seconds and you extrapolate that, of course, over the course of your life, you have 70, 80, 90 years, and then it's done. So why don't you give it your all and make it the most beautiful, entrancing thing for the outside world? Your life's a movie. Make it, you're the director as well. You're the main character of your movie. You're the director. Make it something magical. Do beautiful things. Create awesome things. And do what you're interested in, and whatever that is. Like we're all artists in that sense, and this is what I've come to, and this is what I believe in. But if we're only here 70, 80, 90 years, that's not a long time. Like in the scale of things, it's so short. I'm already 23, turning 24 in a couple months. Like, where have my years gone? It's flying by. This whole year, everyone can admit that 2020 is like flying by, and it's so hectic, it's so crazy, and it's only going to get quicker. So we need to make lasting memories, because that's all we have. But we need to be there, present, enjoying it, controlling, doing the things we want to do, not the things we don't want to do, and really, really doing it. Don't let anyone say you can't do something. Just that's their spiel. That's their insecurities about them. When they say you can't do something, that's because they don't believe in themselves. So, that's really my preach for the day is whether it's 30 seconds, a minute, 70 years, you got to go all in when you come to doing something. And I think that's how you should live your life, is all in on everything you do, because it's, you never know when it might be the last time you do something. When I go skateboarding, it might be the last time I go skateboarding. Who knows? Could die tomorrow. So, yeah, I think that's something I really resonate with, and I think that really comes into full circle with the Jim Carrey really encapsulating his role as he's going all in. Because now you look back at what he did there, and you're like, wow, what a genius! And this is for a lot of things. And for those that know me, they know I'm a huge Kanye West fan, and I dive into him deep. And a lot of people question what he does on a daily basis, especially now. But I promise you, if you take the time and you learn and you dive into these people, these individuals, you can really see their message. And their message is always the same, like as each other. And, I don't know if I got the right answer to it, but a lot of it is love and understanding of each individual people, and that we all are humans with our all unique traits and individuality. And we need to grow and work together as a collective unit, as a whole. We can't have separation. And obviously that's huge right now. But we all need to work together so we can continue this life. We need to work together to go to space so we can inhabit new planets. And it's almost kind of stupid that we have things like North America and Russia and like these opposing forces. Could you imagine on a global scale, we all work together because we're interplanetary now, and we have Earth. That's that country, if you will. And we're exploring the universe and trying to extend human life and working as a collective unit together. I understand that competition helps drive better products and better things for people. But, going back to like Kanye and like Jim Carrey and like a lot of other people, probably especially Elon Musk, is that their goal is typically actually the same when you really dive into it. And, they might say controversial things, but it really goes down to listening, or all capitals listening. Like, are you listening? Are you really listening to what they're trying to say? And this is something that I've kind of come up with. There's like listen in lower cases, and that's just like you're there, you remember it, but you're not really understanding the real meaning behind it. And then there's listening in all caps. And that's like, for me, it's like with Kanye, I go in and I listen to all his interviews, and I go into what his message and what he's trying to say. And if you know him, you'll take, for example, and if we want to just go through his music, it's like 808s and Heartbreaks. When that came out, it got so much hate. Everyone was like, what is this? This is soft. Who's this soft rapper? Whatever. It got a bunch of hate. I loved it, but I was a kid, and I didn't really have opinions then. And now you look at 10 years from now, or like 10 years later, we look back at that album, and it's one of the most pivotal albums in the 21st century. It influenced so many other rappers and hip hop artists like Drake, Juice WRLD, Kid Cudi, and the list goes on. But it was so pivotal at that time. And same with Yeezus. Yeezus everyone was like, what is this heavy metal garbage thrash music? But now we look 5-10 years later, we look back and we're like, whoa, that really encapsulated and influenced more music. It really encapsulated the anger that he had towards the music industry, the creative industry, because he wasn't being allowed to create the shoes he wanted. He was getting screwed over by Nike. And he was just like, you're telling me I can't say I'm a god? I can't say that? And it's almost like a fuck you to everyone that's saying that you can't be something. And when he was trying to create all these sneakers, he wanted full creative control. He wanted actual share and equity in the product that he was building. And Nike's like, no chance, not a chance. And then, of course, Adidas came in, and he ended up making one of the most recognizable shoes without a logo of all time. And it's amazing to see that, because when that was happening in 2013, when he was working on his Yeezys, everyone's like, he's not going to be a fashion designer. He's a fool. He should stick to music. And then now look at him. He's a billionaire with one of the, again, the most recognizable sneaker without a logo, just the most recognizable sneaker in total. And, he says the most Google searched name. And it just shows that, like, people are out there, majority of people are out there telling you can't do something, saying you can't do that, because they don't believe in them being able to do anything. And what Kanye really shows is that, like, you got to not listen to everybody. You take advice, digest it. If it makes sense, take it. But you're going to have a lot of people tell you can't do something. And you have to understand that your goal is above that, to help everyone push forward and human race and human society push forward, and to kind of have that ignorance to be like, hey, I respect your opinion, but I'm still going to do me, and I'm still going to create what I want to create. And, that's what I've been picking up from Jim Carrey a little bit. Jim Carrey's more of the diving into the art that you do. Kanye really shows that everyone has the ability to be as great as they want to be, and to not set limitations for yourself. Elon Musk is a prime example of what it means when you put in the effort, and despite all odds, you make it successful. I think he came close to bankruptcy so many times when he's building Tesla, and now it's one of the most valued companies in the world. And you look at that with anybody, Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan. You look at these people, and they're all so focused in what they're doing. They're all committed to their higher purpose. I say Steve Jobs more so than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was like, he knew he wanted to be the greatest of all time, and whether that was to inspire others, it has. Steve Jobs wanted to create products that were beautifully designed, that were easily accessible for everybody. And, yes, it costs a lot, but the design of the MacBook and all that is so sleek and so futuristic, and the palette of it is so tasteful. But he wanted to make it so that, like, we were advancing the human race in the way that we were all accessible to be able to create. So that's really my point, is most of these people that we look up to or we aspire to be, I truly believe that they all have a very similar goal in mind, and I believe for most of the time, it's very positive and very good. And I think we get lost in some of the things they say because we just lack understanding. So that's the podcast today. That's the brain dump. I got lots more to say, but I feel really good about this one. Again, if you enjoy it, please reach out. Give me a message on Instagram. That can be found here. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Smash the like button again. Comments below. I'm going to try to get this on Spotify. Again, please send the feedback. Anything you guys want to hear from me, let me know. I'm super stoked to be doing these. These are really fun, especially when I get into a flow state. And I've recorded this twice over in the last hour, so I think this one is actually better. So a little blessing in disguise, a little divine timing. You mess up a little bit, you don't put the video camera on, and you redo the whole thing, and it turns out to be a much better experience, I believe. So anyways, love you. I hope you guys have a great day, great week, and all the best towards your future endeavors. Goodbye.